1, 2, 3.
While we're talking about movies here, we have a news. So let me put it this way: like we have social media, we have things where people can write us, but like at our age, like a lot of our fans are old school. So I still get like physical mail in the mail,
like carrier pigeons.
I get the big mail bags, and I've been going through the mail that's been coming in about this show. And one of the things that the people are asking about is like for us to have like some segments on this show.
Yeah, they sent a
and since we always so we always listen to the people.
You mean those 12 dudes from Africa?
Yes.
Follow our show.
Yeah, it went click 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 click.
First of all, I want to give a shout out to Zimbabwe.
What's up, Zimbabwe? Yeah.
Peace out, brother.
So we kind of came up with some ideas. We want to do a few segments on this show, and obviously we talk about movies all the time. So we've come up with this idea of so guys like us like movies, correct?
Sure, I do.
All right. So
yep.
And there's a lot of really good movies out there that for whatever reason have kind of fallen by the wayside. They don't really hit the streamings. They don't hit the top 10 when Netflix carries them, or for whatever reason, they just sort of get lost. I mean, you figure, I don't know how many movies go out, but you can't keep up with all of them all the time.
Right.
Sometimes they just fall by the wayside. And so we were kind of looking at some of those movies and discussing them. And I figure, we can maybe expose our 12 listeners to these movies and get them a little bit of bump, see if we can get a little attention on these movies. And so the first feature that we're going to go with here in Forgotten Films is a movie called Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Hold on. Wait.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I hate to do it, Ryan. Can you since
you
we're
love
also,
to do this.
Since we're also releasing as another thing, maybe highlight the fact that it's called Forgotten Films a little bit more.
Okay. Are you gonna church this one up a little bit?
Just saying maybe intro it as Forgotten Films, so I have something to release.
So
here's something we're calling Forgotten Films.
Yeah.
So we have a segment we decided to call Forgotten Films. This week's feature we're going to take a look at Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Now, do you guys remember this movie?
So yes and no. I did see it when it originally came out. It's been a long time. I think I did see it. Well, like everybody back then, when you saw a movie when it came out, you saw it at the theater. But
I think I saw it on
I
VHS.
do remember, if I remember correctly, isn't it basically Michael Caine and Steve Martin are both con men, and they're basically trying to swindle that lady out of her money, if I remember right?
Sort of. Yeah, so Michael Caine, you should definitely watch this movie.
Yeah.
Michael Caine is kind of a sophisticated swindler. He has
he's got that cool
he has
accent.
Right. He has like morals and standards and stuff like that. Like the women he goes after are like these women who like married older rich guys that died off, and so they inherited all the money. So he kind of goes after them. And then Steve Martin is kind of like this low level, con artist, like he doesn't see the big picture with it. And so, without explaining the entire movie, they're in competition with each other a little bit. But to get him out of the way, Michael Caine decides to teach Steve Martin, hey, here's how you get the big picture. And when I get done teaching you, you go off to some other part of the world and use the skills that you've learned. But it doesn't necessarily go that way. And so they decide to make this ultimate bet they pick a target to swindle this one girl. Whoever can get $50,000 out of her first wins, and they get to stay in this, French Riviera town that Michael Caine loves so much. And so them working together and battling against each other, like almost simultaneously, as just just comedic.
I remember it was funny as hell.
Can I ask, since I haven't seen it, can I ask a couple questions here?
Sure.
Well, first off, when did this movie come out?
It came out in 1988.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that I think made it forgotten is it came out the same time the first Naked Gun movie came out.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. So,
yeah.
Also, you said Steve Martin and Michael Caine. Those are two really big fucking names. Is this
correct?
Is this one of those movies though that like? Is it kind of just those two are the big names, or is this one of those where you look back at the cast and you're like, "Holy shit!
If you think,
how did they get so many people in this movie and no one knows about
it?" Sort of like some of the supporting characters or people like you'd be like, "Oh, I've seen that person in something." And the other thing is, it's directed by Frank Oz.
It's got a lot of those. Oh, that guy.
That guy, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. I know we love to bring up other podcasts, but on Bill Simmons's the Rewatchables, they have a category for that guy.
That guy.
They call it the Joey Pants Award because Joey Pantanella used to be that guy. You used to see him in everything, but people didn't know who he was until like The Sopranos. But like he was in movies in the 80s, and you would see him all the time in these bit roles. So they named Joey Pants.
Ooh, if I could pull a producer move right now. What would be perfect is if we just stole that bit, and instead of it being that guy, he could be a guy like us.
But we're famous, and these are like people that you don't quite know the name. But yeah, so you see a lot of them, and then it's directed by Frank Oz, who, God, I don't know if he did so many good movies. Like he did like Spies Like Us, and which I'm wondering if there's legal action over the title if it sounded too much like the Guys Like Us show.
Yeah,
I don't know if we can retroly go back and sue them for that, but plus there's Paul McCartney with the Spies Like Us song that we could target. So there's a little bit of money in there, I think. But
Paul McCartney's forever stealing my ideas.
Yeah. Which Paul McCartney do you think stole them originally then?
The fake one.
Don't get him started.
The one that's around now.
That's gonna have to be a whole episode, Ryan.
The better of the two.
I have too much to say on that.
This is I know this, and I want to do a little side note. So Steve Martin is one of the co-star on it. As a matter of fact, his heading is even above Michael Caine in this movie, and he's I don't know if you guys watch this show, but it's a really good show. He's doing a show now with Martin Short called Only Murders in the Building, right?
I haven't seen it, but I
it's a good show. It's very funny. And so season 3 apparently started on Hulu recently. And they
is in it, speaking of tits.
Yeah. But they were talking about they've been playing clips for season 3. I haven't watched it yet, but on one of the clips, Steve Martin goes, "Hey, would this be like one of those internet memes?" And she just goes,
"Yes."
Why do you keep saying it like that? And I was like, I'm not the only one that says it.
Well, you call it memes.
You're right.
Well, that was I actually heard that. I didn't know what it was for, but I actually heard that commercial for the first time today, and I'm like, fucking sounds like Ryan. Memes.
Wait, so hold on. I do want to clarify.
So Steve Martin and I have the same running gag.
I do want to clarify.
That's all I want to say.
When you say
we
Frank
have the
Oz,
same joke. Yeah.
Are we talking about also the voice of Yoda, Frank Oz?
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
He's super famous.
Yeah.
Like I know like behind the scenes, like he does so many voices. He's known for his voices, but he directed a lot of really funny movies back then. Like he worked with Dan Aykroyd
and all that shit too.
Right.
Yeah. I think he did Kermit's voice.
Bert, Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear. Yeah. He did a whole bunch of the Muppets.
Yeah. So he directed this movie. So there's, in all honesty, there's no reason why this movie shouldn't be as popular as, say, like Three Amigos or any of the other Steve Martin movies. A lot of it's
just the timing of when they release
them.
Right. If Naked Gun came out right along the same time, it's like, well, you kind of shot yourself in the foot with that one.
Yeah, but that's what I did. Like I went and saw Naked Gun at the movie theater. And then I started hearing my friends talking about Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. And so I think I rented it from the little mom and pop video store and watched it. And I fell in love with it. I can't say I like it better than Naked Gun because Naked Gun's timeless.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. But it's fairly close.
But
like the scenes in that movie.
But like you said, though, you went and saw Naked Gun, and then you rented Dirty Rotten Scoundrels later. That doesn't help them out with their box office stuff, though. You know what I mean? Like, it could be something like that, where technically, like, their box office numbers come from, like, that's, when they judge how the movie did, they didn't, up until like very, very, very recently with streaming and stuff, and really even now it's still not really done this way. Like, they don't look at aftermarket stuff. They look at the box office stuff, and if it didn't perform well at the box
yes
office,
and no. Eventually they do, obviously, more now than they used to, where they start to factor in like
streams and shit,
streamings and all that kind of stuff. But back then they used to talk about like a video home release, like how many people would go and buy a copy of the movie and stuff like that. Like
that was a big deal, is owning the VHS of movies. And like my brother, he's got like fucking 10,000 DVDs, and it's like, man, that didn't age real well.
Yeah, but see, so it has a good example is like Super Troopers became a cult classic, and people bought that movie like crazy. They technically, that movie,
maybe in one of them,
but that movie technically failed because the box office was terrible, and then it became a cult classic because everybody bought it on DVD. But when they went to make Super Troopers 2, they had to crowdfund it because the studio was like, no, your movie didn't make any money, even though they were one of the like highest selling DVD sales or whatever. Like, they were looked at as
Family Guy. Movie, Family Guy, same thing happened with Family Guy.
Yeah, that's how it got brought back from being canceled.
Ryan, do you want?
That's a forgotten show.
Ryan, do you want to intro? We actually have some clips from Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Do you want to kind of intro what's going on here?
Yeah. So pull up the first one. Just kind of pause them in between the two.
What?
Nothing.
All right. What's going on? Do you want to talk about what's going on here?
Quick, put that technical difficulties thing on the screen. Go ahead.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay. All right. Pause it now.
Go to the bathroom first.
I didn't know that's what you were waiting on. I thought you were still trying to get it to load. Okay. No. So here, this scene is it might be the second most talked about scene in this movie, where Michael Caine and Steve Martin have decided to work together, so that Steve Martin can learn how to scam on a bigger level. But the funny thing is, as a rib on him, Michael Caine makes him play this kind of special needs brother of his. So the scam is Michael Caine woos a rich woman. They get engaged. They're getting ready to go off to Oklahoma or wherever and start this new life together. And right before they do that,
sounds fancy.
Yeah, and well, it's weird because that's what it's wherever the woman's from, wherever she came to from vacation. We're gonna go back to America and live.
I'm guessing the writer of this movie has never been to Oklahoma.
Yeah. So and so the scam is
to leave.
Right. So
sounds exotic.
So Steve Martin plays his brother that has these I guess you would say special needs or whatever. And so after the engagement's there, then he introduces, oh, by the way, you should meet my brother Rupert. And then Steve Martin just the stuff he does as Rupert is insanely funny. But it's so bad that it scares the woman off, and she doesn't even ask for any of the money she's given Michael Caine back. Like, she feels so guilty for calling the marriage off over this special needs character that she's kind of like, just takes off, and so they just keep the money and all that stuff. So anyway, go ahead.
Well, you want to explain what's going on here?
So this is all right. So that's what I was saying. This is one of the scenes where he's doing some of his things to scare off one of the potential brides.
For any audio only listeners, go to our YouTube page where you'll actually be able to see the video clip along with this if you get lost. And this isn't always the best for an audio medium, but go watch the video if you want to follow along with us.
Excuse me. May I go to the bathroom first?
Of course you may.
The way he stares around.
And for those that can't see, he's sitting at the dinner table. And he just looks like he's totally totally pissing his pants.
I think he should.
Thank you.
Tell me,
All right, pause it.
Do you feel this?
So in this scene here, like they've decided to go ahead and compete for a particular woman and winner take all kind of thing. And Steve Martin's gone with the routine of I'm in a wheelchair because I saw my wife cheat, or my wife to be cheating on me with a dance instructor. And so for some reason, the shock and everything of that caused him to lose feeling in his legs, and he's in a wheelchair. So he decides, hey, he's talking to the lady, basically explains to her that this one doctor, Dr. Emil Schaffhausen, can help him, but he requires $50,000 and it's cash up front, and all this stuff. And so Michael Caine has spies everywhere. And he overhears Steve Martin explaining this story. Yeah. So he hears him explaining this, to this woman. And so puts everything in place for her to bump into him as the doctor, that only doctor in the world that can cure him for this. So he comes up here to kind of assess the situation. And he's on to Steve Martin's bullshit. So he's kind of, I'm gonna fuck with this guy. He knows he can't show that he has pain or has any feelings in his legs. So if you see the scene, he gradually makes it worse and worse. And again, Steve Martin's visuals on this is just comedy gold. Go ahead.
No. How about that? Nothing. Nothing, huh?
Nothing.
Can't feel it at all.
How about this? Nothing.
Running star from the hallway.
Any feelings there? No.
I think he got a migraine from it.
Do you really think you can get him to walk again?
Oh, I will have him running, jumping,
This is the
shouting,
best part.
Screaming. Oh, my name isn't Dr. Emil Schaffhausen.
The third.
Look, Doctor, he's so happy he's crying.
I am going to help my Gram.
Wait, hold on. So can I ask you a question here?
Yeah.
This might sound stupid. Was that Michael Caine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I thought. Hold on. So you know what's funny? I don't associate Steve Martin with any role because I've seen him in so many things over my lifetime.
Yeah.
But being younger than you guys and seeing these movies like after the fact, I associate Michael Caine with being Alfred in Batman.
Yeah.
Because I only know him
I was
as
just
like
about to ask you, do you just know him as Alfred?
I do. I only know him as like when he's old and he's Alfred. I don't see him as like young Michael Caine at all. I actually didn't know what the fuck he looked like when he was younger. I'm sure I've seen him in movies and not had any idea it was him.
When I see him, I think of him in Blame It on Rio.
Yeah, there's that one.
I don't know what that is.
You should watch that.
Well, add it to the.
I'll tell you the funniest thing is I couldn't get over. I don't know if you saw this movie, Nick, but I was introduced to Michael Caine in the movie called The Hand, and it's this movie where he's in traffic or whatever, and he's fighting with his wife, and for some reason he sticks his arm out the car to he's just waving it and all this crazy, and a truck comes by and knocks his fucking hand off. And then the hand returns to him and starts killing off all these people that he doesn't like. It's the most fucking bizarre horror movie. And so I saw him in that first.
I'm looking it up right now. Yeah. I mean, it does have a 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb, so it's pretty good. But you know what? I think I saw this.
Hey,
The Hand
for future reference.
Yeah.
Ryan, where do we land on movies that I guess we kind of addressed this. You said they have to be like really good movies that were forgotten films that like shouldn't be forgotten. Or could we possibly have a segment for movies that like are
the
maybe
shits?
Well, no.
Absolutely.
That are great, but they're great kind of because they suck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
like Hot Dog the movie?
Sure. I'm thinking about Rubber specifically. I think you guys would enjoy. It's about a psychokinetic tire named Robert.
Yeah, I knew this was coming.
All right.
So
we can talk about that after.
Yeah.
So
that's an after show topic.
Yeah. Or tomorrow topic or whatever.
Show before the show.
So go ahead.
All right, you ready?
All right, so real quick, this scene here that everybody's so this just real quick is this just shows the low level and lack of skill that Steve Martin has. It's a fairly easy target, so I think he pulls this off, but it shows like it's if you listen to it, he's a very low level scam artist. So this kind of demonstrates that. Go ahead.
She is the one who taught me. It is better to be truthful and good.
His grandmother.
Than to not.
All right. So some of these just jump real quick, but this is just more of Rupert's antics to scare these women off. But listen to the threat that Michael Caine gives him, and then and Steve Martin's response to not wanting this this consequence. You're probably gonna have to back that up. You kind of caught it right in the middle.
Okay. We'll make her. You want the genital cuff?
The genital cuff. All right, this is just where they make. You can let it play. This is just where they decide to make the woman the bed.
What do you think I mean? First one to get her into bed.
No, they change it because he doesn't actually have
money. It originates above the waist.
No.
Driving relaxes, Rupert.
More Rupert stuff.
Oh, Lawrence, this is the happiest day of my life. I think my testicles are dropping.
Officer Benson here will be staying with us. Please don't worry. You are close to my room.
This is just more of them competing.
Night and day. May I show you the
He's the doctor, and now he's under the doctor's care. This is his assistant.
Who is that? Is that
Welcome to hell.
Who is that?
I don't know.
Hold on.
I couldn't tell you. He didn't look familiar to me at all.
He does to me.
All right, this might sound dumb. Is that fucking Emperor Palpatine?
I think you might be right.
No.
Hold on.
He doesn't say a lot in this movie.
Ian Hold on. Yeah, I think that is him. Hold on.
That's Emperor Palpatine.
It is.
Holy shit.
It is. That's Emperor Palpatine.
Good call.
Yeah, when I saw his face, I'm like, yeah, that kind of looks, he does look familiar. That's him. Oh, no, wait, hold on. Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's who he is.
He's in the prequels, right? He's Emperor Palpatine in the prequels?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And he
plays Arthur.
Yeah.
It's Ian Demerman? McDiarmid?
McDiarmid?
I don't know. You keep saying that, and all I can think is Ian McShane, and that's definitely not who that is.
Yeah. McDiarmid. DIARMIAD.
Yeah. Yeah, that's him. Good call. Always wondered what happened to This is more Rupert stuff.
Rupert?
Slightly making a scene.
Rupert!
I know somebody here.
So this is
his name.
He got set up, and so he only knows Michael Caine. He's trying to think of what his name was. They met on the train.
James. No, his name is James Josephson. No. James Lawrence. Lawrence Fells. Lawrence Fangs. Forrest Lawrencetown. Lawrence.
He's trying to say Lawrence Jameson.
Yeah, I think so.
Lawrence. His name is James Jessenben. Lawrence Chesterton.
Lawrence Jameson?
Yes! We're like this.
I love the way the guy rolls his eyes when he says that. All right, pause this.
Yeah.
So, this was kind of a neat twist. The doctor starts dancing with the girl that the bet's on in front of Steve Martin in the wheelchair at a club. He says seeing them dance together will help motivate him to get out of the chair. And Steve Martin always had this officer's uniform on. Well, these sailors are behind him, and they think that Michael Caine's kind of taunting him a little too much and everything. And they're kind of like, this guy's in a fucking wheelchair, and this guy's saying, get up and dance with your girl. I got your girl, blah, blah, blah. So they tell Steve Martin, hey, you want us to take care of that guy for you? And of course, Steve Martin's like, yeah, that'd be great. And so they abduct Michael Caine, and they have him for a little bit, but it turns out he used to be a seaman too. So they get along, and a seaman. So so it sort of flips on Steve Martin, and he drops them off, and they're like, look, he can fucking walk just like the doctor said, just like he said, and all this shit. And so Michael Caine goes to get him the next day, and he's sitting there talking, and then the gag is, watch the gag here.
Had a great time. Could you hand me that super glue solvent?
I fucking glued his hand to the.
On that wall for 6 hours.
But on that, well, it's still more part of that scene, actually.
Oh, okay.
You can keep it, let him play.
What did we do when Uncle Ted was
Okay.
here?
Oh, what? All right. This is more rubric stuff. This is insane. What did we do when Uncle Ted came to visit?
Ruprecht. Ruprecht, no.
Get the jelly on the glove.
You've been banging on your pots again, haven't you? I told you.
He lives in this dungeon room with a tire on his swing. Real quick, this is Michael Caine going over the sophistication, and Steve Martin totally not understanding it all. Doesn't get it at all. He's like, so you got a lot of wine.
Freddie, what I'm saying
It's the same thing. You can let it go.
is...
I'll just talk over these. You don't have to pause it.
You are a moron. Don't take the cork.
You're a moron.
Oh,
Why is the cork on the fork?
why is the cork on his fork?
Oh, yeah. I remember that. That's one of the scenes I really
All right,
remember.
pause this though. So this girl, here's gosh, should we give away the twist?
The movie's been out for 40
Spoilers?
years.
Yeah.
So the spoiler is that the girl that they're competing against, it turns out she's a scam artist too, and she's actually been working the two of them the entire time.
Well, damn it,
She
Ryan,
knew
now
what
I
they
don't
were
have to
doing.
watch it.
Yeah. She knew what was going on and stuff, and so you watch it to see how she pulls everything off. It's really well done. And so this is towards the end of the movie. She's already scammed the two of them. Steve Martin's all pissed off about it. Michael Caine, he actually really appreciates her skill and ability as a scam artist. So he's just more enamored with her. So now she's got this new character going, and she's bringing a boatload of these rich people to Michael Caine's house. And she's basically saying, hey, let's, without explaining it to them, hey, we're going to run this scam on all these rich people. Just follow into your role. And Michael Caine falls right into it. But Steve Martin has no idea what to fucking do. So go ahead.
Okay.
Chips O'Toole.
At first, they're both like, what the fuck?
Weren't you going to say anything?
G'day, Nikos. How's it going, sport? Good on you, cobber. Chips O'Toole. Hotels and all from down under. Anyway, coming up to the house, we put a couple of shrimps on the barbie for you.
It's awful to see us like this, isn't it?
I'll pause it real quick.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that might get us.
Okay. Yeah. What's funny is what's funny, I don't know why they cut it out of that clip though, because she then introduces Steve Martin, but immediately says he's a mute. Like he goes to say something and she cuts him right off saying he's a mute because she knows he'll fuck it up. So she doesn't even let him speak. And then he kind of gets this look like she goes, "Oh, but he's a mute," and blah blah blah. And he gets this look like, "What the fuck?" Like I didn't get to try even get to give it a try. It's really funny. I don't know why they cut that out of there, but anyway, go ahead. So this is just back in the movie again where he's taunting her and stuff like that. But I mean, you can kind of wrap it up from here. I think everybody's kind of got the gist, and those are the best parts of the movie.
Well, okay, so do we want to go ahead and talk about? I know you kind of briefly touched on it.
Yeah.
With it coming out at the same time as I'm going to go ahead and start this. Coming out as the same time as Naked Gun.
Yeah.
But do you think that's the only reason this is a forgotten movie, or do you think there's more to it? Do you think it was just timing, or?
I think it just got lost in the cracks. I really do. I think that, with so much that's come out since then, even Steve Martin followed it up with more movies, more, he just had such a big library that you really can't keep it up with it all. To be honest with, when we talked about doing this topic, there's a lot of actors like that. Like, there's a couple of Chevy Chase movies that we'll talk about in the future where nobody really talks about them, but it's probably because he was just fucking cranking them out back in the day,
Also, he had some that were so big with like the vacation movies and like that.
Right.
That
Everybody knows
everyone associates him with.
Right. I mean, Eddie Murphy has a few that there's like, oh shit, I don't remember that one, but it was a good movie. And so that's kind of what I wanted to do here. With this is the movie that gave me the idea. Just a couple of things about this movie. So it grossed $42 million at the box office, which back in 1988 was pretty decent. For it only had like a budget of like 3.8 million. So I
was about to ask what the budget was.
Yeah, it was only 3.8 million. So, and it was released in 1,466 theaters. So it did pretty good. It has a 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't really follow them a whole lot. I know a lot of people live and die by that, but
yeah, they're kind of full of shit.
It's almost a 90% film though.
Yeah.
So everything is positive.
Can I ask you guys for a official, the Guys Like Us show verdict? Do you think it was justified in being a forgotten film because of when it came out, the fact that it kind of slipped through the cracks, or do you think this is really, obviously it's good enough that you brought it to the show, but do you think it was kind of do you feel like it made sense for it to be forgotten compared to the other movies that were out at the time, or do you feel like this really was an oversight?
I don't think it deserved to be forgotten. No. I mean,
no, I don't. But a lot of movies back then, kind of, for lack of a better phrase, didn't age well.
Yeah, there's that.
So, I mean, you go back and you look at old shows and stuff, and you go, and it's like they're not as funny or not as good as I remember.
Yeah.
But because times have changed, I'd have to go back and see the whole movie again. I do remember enjoying it immensely when I did watch it.
Yeah.
Especially the cork on the fork scene. That one cracked.
Yeah. Why does he have to have
and
that?
I guess
he keeps stabbing himself in the eye with a cork,
And I guess to your point, like you said, some stuff doesn't age as well. I remember you found WKRP in Cincinnati. And you were like, oh, hey, this is that show I told you about. Let's watch the show. And then we watched it and you were like, yeah, I don't care about this the way I thought I was going to. Like it didn't hit the same way for you.
Right.
When we watched it. And obviously, I don't know, like I don't have any type of nostalgia with it. So it didn't really go one way or the other with me, but it really didn't hit the same way with you at all. And I was wondering, like, is this kind of one of those things where you watch it now and it's like, no, it is a funny movie, but I understand why it got lost? Or are you kind of like, no, this should have been bigger than it was compared to some of the other movies at the time?
Now, I will say something else, which is kind of interesting with this film too. Let me see if I can find it. I read it at some point. So this movie got the remake treatment, and it starred, and it starred two big name actresses. By the way, also Michael Caine's role was
it Whoopi Goldberg and
no, it was younger. It was
it must not have been a modern remake because if it's modern, you can't do a remake with two white guys.
The remake was that Rebel Wilson and Anne Hathaway.
So two chicks.
Yeah, there's two chicks, which is the other thing they do,
exactly.
like Ghostbusters and all. And it was what they did is they renamed the movie The Hustle. And so
isn't that a different movie?
If you watch that movie, it is almost scene
is
for
it really?
scene. Yes, it is almost. I watched The Hustle.
Oh shit!
And it was almost scene for scene, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Holy shit!
Anne Hathaway is the sophisticated one, the Michael Caine version, and then Rebel Wilson is the Steve Martin bumbly, unsuccessful one. And it's funny, but for me, it was kind of, if it was his own thing, it would probably be a pretty funny movie.
If I remember, the
whole time I'm just going, this is the scene with this, and this is.
I want to say that movie made a lot of money, but did not do well critically.
No, it did. I think it was a decent hit, but
I want to say it technically it did make money, but it didn't. Yeah. No one gave a fuck about it. People went and watched it and they were like, well, that was a disappointment. But a lot of people went.
What's weird is it continues the legacy. You have two big actors or actresses or whatever in it, and now nobody talks about that one. It's been forgotten too. I just don't like it because it's a scene for scene remake and it's
lame.
Completely unoriginal.
Right.
But it wasn't a bad movie on its own. So in a nutshell, that's the movie Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I recommend that everybody stream it. I don't know, actually, if you give me 2 seconds, talk amongst yourselves. I have an app here.
I'm gonna have to do a lot of post-production on this episode.
No, you can leave this in. Have you guys ever heard of an app called Just Watch?
No.
So there's an app called Just Watch. You can put it on your phone. You put in any movie or television show, and it'll tell you where you can stream it, like what apps are streaming it. You can also put in what apps you have, and put it in there. So on this, you can stream it on Tubi, Roku, and Pluto.
Who?
Roku.
Yeah.
So, but it says you can buy a copy of this on Amazon and YouTube for $15. So I say it's well worth $15 if you decide you want to just own this thing. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, great movie. You can rent it on rent it on Amazon if you want to.
Go
buy it there.
Steal it somewhere.
You can. People still use FrostWire? So anyway, no, I don't promote that. You just go get an unlocked Fire Stick like the rest of us. And what are they? Jailbroken Fire Stick.
Hey, careful. Careful.
They sell them on Amazon. Or they sell them on.
If you jailbreak it, it is technically illegal, and technically my cable service right now is not up to code. So I'm going to need you to stop talking about it on the air.
All right, well, go see. Watch the movie somehow. Figure it out. Just watch the clips on YouTube if you're cheap. I don't care. Enjoy the movie.